fight your fucking ass.
You're playing touch butt with that dork in the park.
There's a little snake in the grass.
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
No fucking Jesus, people.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
Hey, pussy, are you still there?
I'm back.
Who the fuck is that guy? Break out the red panties. We're rich, baby.
I would like to introduce...
In this show, wait, circle back, flip it, reverse it. Welcome to the MMAforMoney Show, episode 79. In this show, we will review UFC Vegas 20, Rosenstruck vs. Gane, kind of pressing for room, so it's going to be mainly on the next part, and previewing UFC 259, Blachowicz versus Adesanya. 3 title fights, 2 Jans, 2 Crews, and a double champ. Not to mention Mr. Puma himself, Israel Adesanya, tests himself in a new weight class against the belt-wearing legendary Polish power. The WMA GOAT Amanda Nunez fights Miss. I search for my name on social media and cry wolf, aka Casey Kenny's It's 3 a.m. You must be lonely. I was blinded by the light of Drew Dober's ideal facial structure, but I can still see Bo Bice making his return to MMA. I know that one petered out, but we're rocking it. I'm Bob Boss, your favorite garbage man at MMA State of Mind on Twitter, on Haps, on a bunch of different things. We're adding more stuff on there. Here with real Mike Copenhaver at Don't Cope Just Win, and Mikey Gilman at Mikey Gills. That's Gills with a Z. We're going to reintroduce that. The guys come back at it. Apparently, you guys are messing up again, and you know what? No one should see that stuff in their DMs, except Mike Gills. He's into that sort of thing. We are on Twitter at MMAforMoney Show, and if you're watching us on Haps, same deal there on that tag. Real Mike, how are you doing on this fine evening?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Stoked to talk about a real UFC event coming up this weekend. You couldn't ask for a more stacked card. I couldn't ask for 2 better co-hosts to be with and just here with our wonderful fans. Can't wait to get into some things.
Mike Gills, how's life? I mean, it's looking pretty bleak, but how's it going?
Well, I mean, we're going to talk about it a little bit, I guess. It's fine. I'm mourning the loss of our DraftKings lineup this week, but it's okay. I've got my funeral outfit. I've got some sage and a lighter. We're going to cleanse the evil spirits out of this place. I'm pumped up. New week, new me. Let's go.
I mean, little do you know, that's super on brand because it is the second. The first was Sage Northcutt's birthday. So yesterday. So you're right. You're right in that path.
I was not aware of that.
There you go. We're trying to have a little bit of synergy here and bringing everything together. And like, it's very much appreciated. Well, the MMAforMoney Show is here live on Haps for anyone in here or clicking through here on Twitter, any of the ways this gets connected. If you subscribe to us on Haps, you will receive points. I'm mixing up a lot of those. Either way, if you follow us on Haps and there's a subscription on there, you can now give us a monthly sponsorship. We're available to accept monthly sponsorships. So if you enjoy what we do and you want to cut down our production costs and maybe someday eventually be able to pay some of the wonderful people we have behind the scenes producing this show, then as little as $1 a month could help us out with that a lot. But you know what? I want to change gears a little bit. We got to get this before we even get into the show. All of us at the MMAforMoney Show would like to congratulate Randy W. Horton here on Haps. He's not only a supporter of the show and a moderator, but we would consider him a true friend. He has had a big milestone. He passed 1 million views here on Haps, which is phenomenal, truly impressive. Wow, 1 million. That's insane. Someday we hope to reach that, but way to be a trailblazer in that regard on Haps, this new interface that we're all working our way through. You can find the show on Haps, as I said, Twitch, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Podcasts, just a straight RSS feed. We're also on YouTube, streaming live there now, as well as having the show there after the fact, little tidbits, breakdowns, bets, just little quick ways to go through it. And you can peer back on some old stuff, old special editions, all that great stuff. Subscribe on there, subscribe on here. Really anywhere where you see a name, click subscribe, click like, click share. We need it. We want it. We want to produce it. Now, quickly, I know some people are throwing that up in the chat. If you would, where are you watching from? We already have Jag Girl there throwing in from Kansas City. It's like anyone else want to throw in there where they're from. We're curious. Obviously, we want to know. Just type it right in the chat. We have a great chat group that goes on through every show. So if you're not watching this on Haps or a few of the other things, you're missing out. Right now we have about 200 people here available for the chat, and you can jump in with them as we go on. So we're going to go right into UFC Vegas 20 versus Rozenstruik versus Gane, but little different than normal. Normally we breeze through these with making some stops along the way. We're pretty much just going to do a straight read, and then I'm going to go back to each one of you guys and just quick say like any high points you want to talk about it, and then we'll dive right into 259 because it is such a huge, epic, ridiculous card with amazing fights. I mean, all fight cards have some iffy ones. Those are towards the bottom, so we'll breeze through those quick. UFC Vegas 20, Rozenstruik versus Gane. Dustin Jacoby somehow got a unanimous decision against Max and Grisham. Still surprised on that one. Ronnie Lawrence absolutely demolished Vince Conchero, got that third round TKO. The fight that I was looking forward to most, Menafield versus Knight, got canceled. Davis had that veteran savvy over Mazo for unanimous decision. Alex Oliveira got a replacement opponent, and then that canceled out too because he didn't clear medical. So Holloway has to find another way to make his payments to all his baby mamas. Alexander Hernandez won the fight in his own head to nobody else, but in his head, if you don't watch the fight, he won all 3 rounds. But really, Moises got the unanimous decision victory there. Alex Caceres humbled Kevin Kroom, who decided to go to the local strip mall and get every cheap weapon he could buy for the weigh-ins and just flip everything to and fro. Didn't help him much there. Angela Hill Yoder got canceled, although she got kicked down the can a couple weeks. Pedro Munoz beat Jimmy Rivera to unanimous decision victory, which kind of surprised me. Obviously, the leg kicks could have been there, but I just didn't think they were going to happen. I thought Jimmy Rivera would be able to do more, but hey, calf kicks. Woo. Okay. Montana De La Rosa got a draw with Bueno Silva because of a cage grab, which honestly, I'm for that happening more frequently as long as they're willing to do it after one warning, which they did. I know you don't like that, Mike Gills. We'll get to that. Magomed Ankalaev got the unanimous decision victory over Nikita Krylov. Workman-like performance, basically, wins decision. And Cyril Gane got the unanimous decision over Rozenstruik. Just being able to strike from the outside, do everything he wanted to do, was pretty much not in danger the entire time, and had Rozenstruik on skates ever since he landed a hard jab in the first or second round. Our bets went 0-1, minus 1.5 units. We had bet Rivera. I thought he was going to be able to get across and not have to deal with those leg kicks as much because he was putting too much forward pressure and offense on Munoz, but that didn't happen. And our other bet was on Knight, which didn't happen. I actually hope they rebooked that fight because I still really like him there. So I will go to Mike Gills first so you could break down DraftKings, and then any other part on the card you want to quick go through. And then right after that, Real Mike will go to you. Any overarching takeaways from this fight card before we push forward and move on to this week.
All right. So now you're talking about Knight being pulled out. That was the first L we took this week. Look, guys, not a good week for me. I'll try to make this quick because I know we're trying to be fast here. Bad week for the show. Normally, like, I can still do okay. Like, normally I'll still do all right on my own, like, even if the show picks aren't great. This week, fucking bloodbath. It was awful. I apologize to anybody who listened to me. Officially in a bit of a slump. 1 of 6, 290 points. God damn it. Ronnie Lawrence was the only high point. I was super high on that guy. He scored 134 points. Other than that, the De La Rosa thing, I feel like we should have got that decision. Cage grabs be damned. Everybody else can go to hell. What a shit show. I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, it was absolutely one of the worst UFCs that I ever did see. You know, I had a couple people at the barbecue. I was trying to get into the UFC, and they asked me if the fights were going to be decent. I try to say, you know, sometimes it's the non-popular ones that are really good, and sure, shit ate crow. Absolutely one of the most boring events I've ever seen. I heard people whining that the UFC only gave 150K out. If it was up to me, I probably would have gave 50K out only to Pedro Munoz and told everybody else to kick rocks. It was terrible. Sorry for my performance on Rivera. It's just a shit show. I'm wearing pink because it was a bitch move. Sorry, guys. Next.
Well, okay. No, obviously we take it very seriously. Like when we don't win you guys money, it's why typically if we have a bad showing, especially if we have 2 bad showings, we typically go on a 3 to 5 event run. So we're right there with this because the last 2 events we've lost on. Although, again, we're kind of in the middle ground where we're losing key fights here that would either soften the lost blow or eventually make it a winning night. So it's like, no pun intended. Although, I guess it works with the night fight falling through. But because I'm sorry, that one, I was incredibly confident in that one. We all were. And if that would have come through, then it's only a minor losing there. But we don't hide away from losses. We obviously always throw them out there as well as wins. Just trying to think if there's anything else I want to bring up on that fight card. We're just gonna move on. We're gonna wipe the slate clean, and we're gonna move on because this fight card is amazing. I mean, the early going is going to be a little bit rough because apparently everybody needs a fight. So there you go. But it's a great fight card. But we're going too fast. 10 minutes into the show, which is I think a new record because we need the time. We still probably will break an hour, but we need the time. So starting off, we have Trevin Jones is plus 195 versus Mario Batista at minus 235. Mikey Gills, it is your honor, sir, to break this one down.
Yes. All right, I'm going to start off good here. 53 beats per minute heart rate. I'm calm. We've settled down. Trevin Jones, $7,100 on DraftKings. Showed a lot of heart in his UFC debut, which is kind of a nice way of saying that he was getting the absolute piss beaten out of him in the first round. He survived a lot of knockdowns and bad spots, rallied back for that second round KO against a much better opponent in Timur Valiev, but credit to him nevertheless. I kind of like this guy. He looks like Cisco with the hair. Shout out to the Harbor Fudgery. If you know, you know. Base is jiu-jitsu. Striking isn't too impressive. Fights out of the southpaw stance, pretty stiff. Does have a lot of heart. Like I said, he took a beating in the last one. Going up against Batista, 9,100. Expensive guy here. 2-1 since joining the UFC, winning his last 2 in a row. He dresses for the occasion with his striking. Like certain fights will overwhelm you with volume and take you out. But then you watch fights like he has against Miles Johns, where he's very patient, looks for the right moment. He can get a little crazy sometimes. That's worth noting. Like he opens himself up when he's getting hit and close, like kind of like call it Cody Garbrandt syndrome. It's kind of the same. It's worth noting because that's how Jones took out Valiev. So it's just something that you want to talk about. For 9,100 on DraftKings, I think Batista is clearly the better fighter. There is some risk here with what I was just talking about, but I'd still recommend him as a play.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything that Mikey said. Mario Bautista, to me, I was about to bet him if his line was probably at a negative 160 to 180. I would have bet him for sure. At the negative 225 or so, it's a little steep, but I still feel like he's going to absolutely dominate here. I feel like this is a spot for him to absolutely shine. I feel like he's just tough for standing, tough for transitioning in the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu department. So I just really believe it's a showcase spot for Bautista to win. He should roll here.
I can't say too much on this one. I mean, these first few fights, obviously, I'm a little bit lacking info on. This one, I do like Batista. I think he's a rightful favorite. I have more opinions a little bit later on these early fights, but not too much to write home about. Obviously, a little bit heavy of a favorite to bet on, but he should win. I just want to take a minute. We got a few gold standards hopping into the chat that we really appreciate. Obviously, Ryan Richardson, the man himself, one of our monthly sponsors, is in there. The man got Mel M in there. Thank you for hopping in. Also, she gives a big shout out to Real Mike. If you haven't caught it, you can go either on our YouTube, we shared it, or he's linked on it on his Haps channel or just the main Haps channel. He was on this huge Haps interview marathon thing where they introduced a bunch of different shows, talks about all of this stuff, and he had a solid 15-minute segment on this. Please check him out. He did amazing. Let a bunch of people know about our show. So if you're hopping in from that, and this is our first show for you, this is a great first show for you. There's a huge pay-per-view. It's going to be amazing. And obviously, if you're watching, I don't know if you can see what we're saying in the chat to a windy wavy. I believe that symbol means you're checking in from YouTube. If you're talking about when we're going to break down the Izzy fight, that'll probably be in about 45 minutes-ish, maybe a little bit less than that, maybe a little bit more in terms of when it's going to be.
Kathy.
Yeah, depending on if you're talking about fight night itself, it depends what coast you're on, but I'm central, so that's probably going to happen the third coast, as we like to say. Lake Michigan. It is true. It's a thing.
Fair enough.
If you want to go with 11 at best, my time is probably when he's going to be walking to the cage. So I hope that was helpful. And thank you, Mel M. You didn't have to throw in also those awards. We appreciate that. That's another thing you can do within Haps is give us awards. And thank you to the collective, just about 300 people that we already got on here. This is awesome. We actually got some people from Facebook watching live. That's not a first, but that's in the early.
We love it.
It's slowly growing. We very much appreciate it. It was slow growth, and now we're kind of hitting some steam here. Okay, so next up, get into another fight. Otherwise, we're going to be here all night, and I don't have all night. Uros. I know everyone's been saying Medic, but I feel like it's Medic. So I'm going with Medic. That's a feeling deep in my soul. So I'm going to go with Medic because I'm for it. He's minus 165 versus Alan Cruz. The first of the cruises, if you caught my spiel at the beginning, kudos to Mike Gills for the edit on my spoken word, is plus 145. Real Mike. Medic versus a Cruz, specifically this one.
Yeah, this is a very interesting matchup. You know, Alan Cruz is actually going up in weight classes, and Medic's coming down. So it's going to be really weird who's going to have the edge in strength here. You would think the guy Medic coming from an upper weight class down, he would be a little bit stronger. But Alan Cruz maybe getting the extra 10 pounds going up in a weight class, he might gain a lot of strength. So it depends on, I guess, the weight cut that Medic goes through. One thing that Mikey Gills said since he came on the podcast is that automatically I could hear Mikey say his record is suspect. It is padded. He is from Alaska. Yes. Okay, there are fucking guys in Alaska that they could be working at a hot dog stand and they could beat this guy. Okay, so I don't know if I could take this motherfucker in this fight, so I'm gonna go with Alan Cruz. I think Alan Cruz is gonna have a little bit more weight on him. I think he's gonna be able to take this with a little more energy. I'm going with Alan Cruz.
I mean, do I talk like that? Is that a thing?
No, I'm just being an asshole. I'm just being a dickhead. I'm just fucking. It's just funny, bro.
I mean, I agree with almost everything that you said there, but I'll get a little bit more in depth. I have some thoughts on this one.
I wasn't being disrespectful. I just was being funny, bro.
Nah, it's cool. I'll just do the whole thing like this. I'll just make it match. Let it in post. It's fine. Uros Medic, 8,900. Finished all 6 of his pro fights, but like you just said, Alaska FC. Always a bit hesitant. We'll just leave it at that one. Stylistically, very strong kicking game. Uses them for power and to keep range. He does that to keep range because he has T-Rex arms, not the longest arms you'll ever see. In this fight in particular, he's going to be dealing with a 7-inch reach disadvantage. But watching him fight against the guys that you've seen, very impressed against absolute bums. Throws some southpaw, uses both legs, mixes up his kicks well. Going up against Cruz at 7,300. He won on Dana White's Contender Series, lost his debut to Spike Carlisle. That's not a good look, but it gets a little bit better. Like we said, he's going to have a 7-inch reach advantage in this fight. Also throws a lot of kicks. He does look a little slower the way his style is. That's kind of how he is. One thing I don't like about him is he's very hittable on the feet. He kind of hangs out in the pocket a little bit too long, doesn't get in and out. Kind of reminds me of a Diaz brother, but he uses his kicks instead of his hands. But he's kind of also like the Undertaker in a way. Like he'll lull you, he'll do like things kind of slow, and then boom, he just explodes with something like a flying crossbar. Only with this guy, it's like a flying knee or something. Anyway, for prediction, this fight's going to be a kick fest. Like Cruz's defense on the feet is like, how can I say this? Like combine Medic's speed advantage. I like Cruz in this fight. Cruz doesn't slow down. He's going to keep his pace up for 3 rounds, and I haven't seen Medic do that. I'm gonna pick Cruz just because I like across 3 rounds his style, the way he keeps going. He's got a lot of toughness out there. I'm kind of rambling at this point. Cruz is going to take this underdog. Let's go.
Quick pause. Thank you. We got another subscriber there. We got Moose 1032. That's supposed to be read a different way. That's the way I'm going with it. But that's the trucker in me. Big 10-4, good buddy. I'm on Alan Cruz for no other fact than big shout out to one of my longtime people I've talked to on Twitter, _whiskey sour or .yo. It's one of my main men from Germany. I've been talking to him on Twitter for a few years now. He was big on Cruz and had a solid take on it. So I'm not going to repeat that. If you want to read his take, you can look at interaction I had with him earlier. Other than that, going on Cruz, completely back in my boy from Germany. So that's all I got on that one. I will have more in-depth breakdowns as this goes on. Usually the first 2 or 3 on me. If you don't have it, I have a standing policy that if you don't have minimum 2, but likely 3 fights within the UFC, I don't spend a lot of time on you, just in general, because you haven't been properly tested, and I'm probably not going to find a bet on you anyway. So moving on. Next up, we actually do have some notable names, one of which I believe was a bet on the show at one point. Can't remember if this was pre-MG or post-MG. That's Mike Gills for anyone that wanted the specifics. Lavina Souza plus 185 versus Amanda Lemos. Mikey Gills, have at it.
Okay, start off Lavina Souza, 7,500, going up against Amanda Lemos at 8,700. I typically have a rule that if a female fighter excels in one area, I like to pick her no matter what. And like Lavina Souza, very talented grappler, like from age 7, her parents had her doing judo. Like she eventually transferred over to jiu-jitsu, which is kind of her base when she fights. Credentialed fighter, former Invicta champ. She's really solid on the ground. Stand-up isn't her strong point. It's kind of like a more kick-heavy, like inviting people in, kind of just basically lending itself to trying to get opponents into her world. Lemos, much better stand-up with actual legit knockout power. She lost her UFC debuts, won 2 straight since then. I don't have the strongest lean in this fight. I don't want to mislead people, but it's women's MMA. It's going to hit the ground at some point. And for me, I would just lean the submission heavy girl who finishes most of her points. So for me, two dogs in a row. I'm taking Souza in this one.
Yeah, this is definitely a tougher one to judge. Limos to me is going to be a little bit bigger and a little bit stronger, but Sousa's got a little bit. It's just more experience, and just been there with more girls. Just she's tough, man. She's one of those girls that just stands there in the pocket and she's mean in the clinch. I don't know how the line has switched this far over, and Souza's now, I believe, the underdog. But it's kind of a blessing. I believe that Souza is the right side to bet here, so I'd go with Souza.
Quick pause. We got Mini Royalty Moon has been here for a while now. Hello to Vince Guzman, Mr. at Vince aka Beans, hopping in the chat there. Sorry, very much appreciate. We get a lot of total brain fart. Sorry, a lot of support from him. There you go. See, get me a little bit later in the day. It's not so good. This kind of slinks back to lower level women's MMA fights for me. Yes, I know that's kind of my blanket statement. I'm aware, but it pays. So it's like it's going to be a close fight, guaranteed. 29-28 either way, and that has me leaning towards Souza. This is not a bet per se, but it's a bet in spirit. There we go. Here we go. If I'm finally gonna get some fights, I'm gonna have a little bit more breakdowns on going forward. Sean Brady, the new hotness for so many people, the new prospect, minus 210 versus Jake Matthews plus 175. Real Mike, is he about to get his Brady bunched?
Yeah, no, he's not going to get his Brady bunch. I'm a big fan of Sean Brady. I think he's absolutely mean, man. I think that his jiu-jitsu is good. I think that his wrestling is really good. I think that his stand-up is amazing. Jake Matthews, though, on the other hand, he's been in there for a while. He's got a lot of skill himself, super well-rounded. I believe both guys are BJJ black belts. It's kind of like they're both going to kind of cancel themselves out there, and I think that it's probably going to end up being a standing war. And I give Brady the advantage there, man. I just feel like if you put these two guys in the alley, that Sean Brady would come out on top because he's the meaner, badder dog. I think that what's the lineup on this one, Bob? Do you know?
Minus 210 for Brady, 175 for Matthews.
So it's just a little steep on Brady, but I still feel like it's warranted. If it was a negative 150, I'd say for sure go on it. But the no losses on Brady is what scares me because you learn a lot from those losses in the upper echelon of the UFC. But I'm going Brady all day.
Yeah, staying on Brady, 9,300. Just, like you're talking about, black belt on the ground, real tough from top position. Just has that guillotine squeeze from hell. Striking's coming along, really kick heavy game to keep distance. Really good lefts, catches you on the way in, big power in his right. He's one of those guys just really good at getting you in positions just to fight his fight. Going up against Jake Matthews, 6,900 on DraftKings, another grappler, like they're talking about, another black belt. Decent stand-up too, though. Don't sleep on that, especially his left hand, good jab. If you watch his fight with Emil Meek, he had that crazy ass, it was like a left leading uppercut. Dude, he knocked him down. Like Meek went off his feet like Brad Pitt in Snatch. It was fucking awesome. God, I'm cussing a lot tonight. I'm gonna calm down on that one. All right, Paul, here we go.
Sunglasses.
Anyway, it is the sunglasses. I don't feel any guilt. Anyway,
I told you, Oscar.
I just think the story of this fight is going to be how much Sean Brady, how much he can control this fight, and just I just think he's the better of the two. He's pretty good at forcing opponents to do what he needs them to do. On the feet, I think Brady edges him, and at some point, this is going to hit the ground. I think Brady just has really good top control, strong as hell, patient, can work for a sub. I just think this is his fight to lose. 9,300, that's just a hell of a price tag. So far in Brady's UFC career, he's been good for it, so I think you're good to roll with him, but this fight has some potential to maybe kind of negate each other and cancel him out. So 93, while he has been good for it so far, maybe just kind of be wary of that.
Trying to find a nice way to put this fight. I don't think Sean Brady has been tested. That doesn't mean I don't think he's going to win. I just don't think he has been tested. I think Jake Matthews can test him. My biggest issue with Jake Matthews, there's been numerous times throughout his career, which sounds crazy because dude's still young. He's just been in the UFC forever. I've had such high hopes for him, and he hasn't cinched up those weaknesses like so many times. So there's a very real possibility, and I actually think this is how it's going to go. You're going to have a close first round that Jake Matthews is actually leading. Like it's going to be close, but he's going to be leading. And then there's a solid chance that he starts to kind of pull it away in the second. and then mid-second, end of second, or early third, Jake Matthews kind of feeling himself. He starts opening up a little bit, starts like, you know what? Hey, I'm going to go for an ill-advised takedown. And then he's going to get submitted. Like I see a late second or early third round submission on the Brady side. Up until that point, it's going to look like a much closer fight, but I do think he's going to get a finish in there. I'm not going to bet that because I try to stay away from props as much as I can. Sometimes they reel me in, but not so far.
Story of a man named Brady.
I appreciate that. That was a good one. Quick shout out to Moose 1032 who just hopped in. He's already given an award and enjoying the show, and the fist bump award there from Vince, aka Beans. Man, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Breaking into about 450 right now, watching live, and a bunch of people talking in the chat. If you're not in the chat, you're really missing out. It's a good time.
Let me interrupt real fast. I mean, to see 448 of you guys watching us live is just truly incredible. You know, this is a real community, a team that we're building. That's why we're called the MMA.
And we're in the early prelims right now. We're still in the early prelims.
Early prelims, baby. And we're in beta, Haps beta right now. Wait till Haps TV gets going full board. You know, they got the best team in the world. We're happy to be a part of them. And so let's fucking go.
Yeah, Bob, is there a marathon term for where we are? Because there's still so much left to go. Like, if this is the point that I would quit, is there like a term for that at all? Or
I mean, this is probably like we haven't even broken 10K. Like, this is probably at like a stop, like 6 miles in.
I'm done. I'm done here. I'm a sprinter. I was like one of those 100-yard dash type of guys. I run real fast, but I'm done after that.
I was a lineman in high school. I don't have time for any of that.
Well, but dude, I went downstate and shot put. You could run.
You're 6'3", bro. You got those legs. You probably run fast. It's so good.
Okay, don't shortchange me, bro. I'm 6'4".
Sorry, it's my in-law that's 6'3". Sorry,
it's all good. Back in high school, that's when I was 280. When you do shot put, you're 280. When you run marathons, you're 190.
See, this is why we can't have time limits, because I could just keep going. Let's roll.
That's true. It's true. Well, no, I think what I will do a stitch back later on, because once we hit about starting of the title fights, maybe even to the co-main event fight, that's usually when they talk about there's a term when you hit about the 18 to 20 mile mark, because any single racing prep book thing that you do will never have you run more than a 20-mile run. So once you break the 20 miles, you're in no man's land. You've never been there before, and you got another 6.2 miles. So anybody who hasn't done them before, there's so many people that break against that wall, and just I've seen people walk off of a marathon at like the 24-mile mark.
You got to get behind him and kick him.
Like, you have 2.2 miles. You could walk that in like 25 minutes if you had to. Sorry, moving past that. Sorry. Don't worry. Like, whenever I sign up for another race, there will be a lot more marathon terms. You don't currently have one on the docket. That's why.
Good to note. If we get Bob talking about shot put or marathons, that's 10 minutes. Let's go.
It's like all you guys bring up are stick and ball sports. It's like I could tell you some of the top marathon runners in the country. It's like I could talk to you about my shot put trick, which is technically you shouldn't do because you could really injure your fingers, but somehow I worked it out. Like the technical stuff. Like, just. Why not? Yeah, no, I know no one cares. That's why our number hasn't jumped in the last like 5 minutes. But it's okay, because we're gonna okay. Preemptively, I apologize for trying to pronounce these names. This is gonna be bad. Like, I was trying to practice them. Like, I don't normally do that. I was trying to practice them, and it's just getting bad. Okay, so Carlos Ulberg. That's not the hard one. Kennedy Nechizku. Nope, not even it. Zachukwu. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say I nailed it.
That was bad for Bob. Bob, you do so much better than that, dude. I'm so
I haven't heard his name said on the broadcast, or at least I haven't noticed either way. Ulberg is minus 245. I'm gonna go with Kennedy because it's way easier at plus 205. Mike Gills, talk to me about Ulberg versus the other name I said.
Well, getting the last names wrong, I understand, but I believe you said Carlos. Is that not Carlos? Am I crazy?
It should be Carlos, but hey, sometimes when I type fast, I miss letters. It makes sense because people have weird names.
You said you were going to mess up the names. You started off strong with that one. I was like, oh, whoa, okay. Anyway,
guess what? Look, now there's an R in there. I just typed it out.
Okay. Carlos Yolberg, 9,000 on DraftKings. City kickboxing guy, also a former contestant on The Bachelor. He's not a bad-looking man. He's only 3-0 in MMA, but he's also 3-0 in kickboxing, and that is an important note when you're facing a guy with only 8 fights. Decent stand-up on this guy, throws a lot of power. His defense does seem a little suspect. He seems to have that inviting style as part of his game. He just really believes in his counters. Going up against, I'm going to give it a try now, Kennedy Nchukwu. I think that's right. 7-1.
Good job.
Dude. Golf clap.
I'm all about silent Z's. 7,200 on DraftKings. Right away, you have to say this. He would probably be 0-2 in the UFC if not for a couple of point deductions in his Darko Stosic fight, his last one. Several kicks, clipped him right in the balls, ended up giving Kennedy the fight. As for his style, tall guy, crazy 83-inch reach, doesn't use it very well. Accepts a lot of leg kicks, fights some southpaw, but doesn't really do much to block any inside kicks. He also doesn't throw much volume early on. He presses it on later, but his striking style is very basic, just 1-2s, very slow, but he can keep up that pace for a while, and if you let him stalk you, he will start to pour it on as the fight goes. Pick for this fight is Olberg. I think it's just kind of like a favorable matchup for a city kickboxing guy, almost like a showcase. Don't think too hard on this. Olberg's a great play at 9,000.
Yeah, Carlos Olberg. Carlos Olberg, I think that this guy is mean, dude. He's got a body on him like nobody's business. Very much like Drew Dober could steal your fiance at any time. So watch out if you walk by this dude. Mr. Marvelous himself, he is marvelous. I think that he's a little gem here. I think that Kennedy is just he's suspect, man. I just don't think he's all that. I think that his chin isn't as strong as the people would like to make it out to be. I also think that when he's in a firefight, well, he gets clipped in the chin. He doesn't want to be there, and he end up going for a takedown. If he doesn't get that takedown, he's going to get beat down. Carlos, from City Kickboxing, we can't talk enough good about these guys. They're just from on a different level. Their fight IQ, the way they switch stances, the way that they check things, the way that they lead people into certain things, it's just quite amazing. I'm going with Carlos Olberg to win here, and I think that the line's a little steep, but it is what it is.
No, I'll go pretty much that. I think this is kind of, I wouldn't say full setup, because obviously he could very easily lose, because I don't think he is that upper echelon of his division or even city kickboxing. But I do think this is like, hey, Israel Adesanya said that we should be nice to you, so boom.
I don't know, man. Nchukwu's defense looked pretty bad.
Yeah, that's why
83-inch reach, and he fights like this,
which is ridiculous. Like he could elbow and still reach better than he can.
Anyway,
this is, sorry, I'm kind of pondering in that one. Like the crazy thing about this fight card is you have a couple of these. It's just like, hey, main event or main card's buddy is fighting. Yeah. So I don't know. Not too much. Like I think this fight's gonna end in a finish if that helps. So it'll be entertaining that way. I guess if you want to go odds wise, I haven't checked too many of the props. Like I said, I try to stay away from them, so I don't try to keep too knowledgeable on them, because then I will get trapped into them. But there you go. If a fight doesn't go to this distance, -170. So yeah, you're not getting much on that. But hey, at least I'm kind of onto something there. We're actually gonna be on some good fights now.
Yes.
Tim Elliott, that crazy mofo, is fighting Jordan Espinoza. Tim Elliott is +110 against Jordan Espinoza's -130. Real Mike, talk to me about the crazy hick that is Tim Elliott.
Yeah, Tim Elliott, man, he's literally one of the ultimate scramble transition MMA wrestlers in that division. He's been in here for a long time. Fought with the best in the world. Had Demetrius Johnson in a guillotine choke that had me scared for a moment and thought maybe he might shock the world. And then you got Jordan Espinoza. He really, there's a couple of times I bet on him and he did win, and but he peaked a long time ago. I just really don't believe that his wrestling or jiu-jitsu is near the level it needs to be. This is a spot where a veteran like Tim Elliott, I feel like he can just absolutely wreck and dominate and break Jordan Espinoza in round 2 or 3, when Jordan Espinoza realizes that his stand-up isn't going to make it because he's on his ass too many times. I really believe that this is a spot where Tim Elliott can win here. I feel like the near even odds on Tim Elliott is an absolute gift here. So I'm stoked that we get this here for the MMA for Money show, and I'll let you guys get into it. So I'm taking Tim Elliott.
Jordan Espinoza, like, he's kind of like a perfect matchup for Elliott when you think about it. And I think the thing about this fight is Elliott knows it. Like, Espinoza, not the best striker. Like, neither one of these guys are really, but Espinoza's the type of guy, he needs that wrestling advantage to win. He's not really going to have it here. Elliott's team, like, they have mutual friends in different camps. Elliott needs that win right now. And I think that's why he held out for this specific fight after Espinoza got COVID and their first fight was postponed. So, like, Espinoza, he's already been subbed twice in the UFC by pressure-heavy grapplers. Elliott has the ability to do exactly that. And even at 34, he's talking about getting his style to be longer for the sport. So, like, if he's just going to go straight to that kind of style, that's a style that can win you fights later in your career. And I think for him at $8,200, I think that's a great price. So I'm going to roll with Elliott here too. I'm hoping for a sub, but the way the new DraftKings scoring system works out, a decision will work too. But yeah, Elliott, let's go.
Mr. Vince, aka Beans, thrown in there if this fight is too close to call. I actually don't think so. Mainly, I'm very high on Elliott in this spot. This is by far the worst person he has fought in quite some time. And his only issue is there are times where he fights to the level of his opponent, which is wonderful when he fights someone like Demetrius Johnson and gets like a super close near submission, or a couple of the other guys. But I like what he's doing. Like, he's actually at a legit camp. Now he's no longer just partying in Vegas. During one of that downslides he had, he was living in Vegas, partying all the time, barely had a camp. It's like now he's at Glory MMA, and actually has legit coaching and training partners and just like all those wonderful things. And I just, not only do I think he's going to, if he wasn't dog, I might, like, if he was a steep fit, like, okay, sorry, Elliott's going to fight for your money. He's the type of guy that as a dog will always fight for your money, and you always want a dog that's going to fight for your money. That's dog odds-wise, obviously. If he was a big favorite, I would not be touching this. The fact that he is kind of backed into a corner, whether that's in his own head or not, I love that here. So the plus 110, now it's plus 110. Like me and Real Mike had talked about this earlier today. It was plus 105. So it's even getting bigger dog odds. So for the show, our first official bet of UFC 259 is going to be 1 unit on Tim Elliott at the plus 110 to win you guys 1.1 units. Quick writing that down so we can have that later for the wonderful show notes for you guys later. So this could be a nice little video that you could watch later and just skip ahead so you don't have to get all the wonderful banter that so many other people like. So why do you hate us? Sorry, I looked very intently into the camera for a minute there. We're going to move on. We have another city kickboxing disciple. Kai Kara France is minus 140 versus Rogerio Bonteron at plus 120. Mikey Gills, look through the shades. How's France doing?
No, sorry, I forgot to write down their prices. I'm trying to look them up real quick. I know Kai Kara France off at 8,600, and the other guy I can't find 8,000. Wait, no, Bonteron. Crap, 7,700.
No, I have something to say if you want to quick look that up. So
no, we're good.
We have Elliott by sub plus 800. Ryan Diamond threw that on the comments from YouTube. I like that. I might take a little bit on there. Not gonna lie. You tempted me with the props, man. You tempted me with the props. I might have to put a little bit on there. Come on. Sorry. All right. Go ahead.
All right. We are now settled. Stay on Kai Kara France. Lost 2 of his last 3. Was upset by Brandon Royval his last time out. He's definitely the better, more technical striker of these two. Throws a ton of volume. One thing I like that France does is he really throws a good lead left hook when guys are following him around the cage. I think that's going to come into play in this fight. Also, if this guy's clinched up like against the cage, like you're trying to press him there, he throws really solid elbows from the clinch. That just goes to, he has really good takedown defense, just extremely difficult to take down. Going up against Rogerio Bonteron. What did I just say? 7,600. Sorry, I got to write these things down. Look, this guy striking, not as technical, a lot of power, big hooks, hard straights, definitely more of a grappler first, but on the feet, you got to get it there first. Not going to out volume you. He's going to get his striking to try to back you up to set up his takedowns. Again, his great grappling, not the greatest wrestling. I think he's going to have a really hard time trying to get France down in this fight. My pick on this one is Kai Kara France, but when you talk about DraftKings, for his price at 8,600 and his typical scoring range, it's usually somewhere in the 60s and 80s with a decision. It's really tough to recommend him, but I do like him for the win, just not for DraftKings.
Yeah, this is going to be a really good fight. Kai Kara France, they say his takedown defense is that high, but he really hasn't fought the best caliber of opponents. It's a little suspect
That's true.
at this level. So that the takedown defense rate is just getting me a little hairy. Rogerio Bonteron is super super underrated. I really believe that this dude's jiu-jitsu game and when he's down on the ground is far superior than Kai Kara France. The problem is that when you're at the smaller weight classes, these guys, like once they hit the ground, they seem to pop up so fast, and you can't really get the game going. So guys with jiu-jitsu edge, sometimes it doesn't play a factor. Kai Kara France comes from one of the great camps, City Kickboxing. He has some of the best people around him to train with. I like him a lot. The problem with Kai Kara France is he just seems like one of those guys he's a great athlete. That his mommy and daddy put him through a high school, and made sure he got good grades and put him through college and was a good athlete, and he's really good. This is fighting. Rogerio Bonteron wants to fuck this dude up. I'm all for it. I think Rogerio Bonteron is going to be a good shot at the underdog winning this weekend. I think that the line is even showing that. If Kai Kara France had so much experience and he's all this and that and the takedown defense of Usman and Khabib and blah, 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 you wouldn't see a negative 150 next to his name tag. I'm going to go dog or pass here. I think Rogerio Bonteron is got us a chance to win this fight. I'd say Rogerio Bonteron wins this.
All right, head to head. I like it.
Quick hello and hi, and thank you for the award from the Erica. That's AARIKA there on Haps. Very much appreciate that, and for tuning in as well as the over 500 people we have watching here live. If you think someone else would enjoy this, or we're gonna have this timed right, we're about to get into the main card. So if you want to share out to anyone that would be interested in these amazing title fights we got going, by all means, share out the link to either Haps, YouTube, Periscope, any of the wonderful, wonderful streaming apps that we are on, which many of them are coalesced here on the Haps. Just a little FYI. In terms of Kai Kara France, he's minus 140. I don't know, that's steep. I've never been super high on Kai Kara France. I think a lot of his odds are built in because of the gym that he trains at, which is difficult. See this much closer as a pick'em. So obviously in terms of odds, you're getting more on Bonteron there. So just 100% strictly based on odds, I would go with Bonteron. But in terms of like skill for skill, I think Kai Kara France still has it, although I think he has absolutely hit the ceiling of his potential, and he's going to get figured out pretty soon. So that's all I got on that one. Next up, there's always one. This is the sad fight of the night. I don't know if you guys knew where I was going with that. There's always a sad fight of the night. And
I was going to say the same thing, bro. They got to steal my shit.
It's hard, and if you've been watching
love
the
you,
show,
Joe B. I love you, Gustavo Lopez. I love you.
we have Joseph Benavidez has been our guy on this show since the show started, basically, and we swung and a miss the first time that he went against Davison Figueiredo, and then we did not bet it the second time around just because of how devastating that first go around was. Sorry. It's sad, and we're going to get into why in 3 parts. Joseph Benavidez plus 100 versus Azkarov minus 120. Real Mike, talk to me about Joby One Kenobi versus the man with not quite 2 first names, but close.
Oh, man. If this was anybody but Joe B, you would hear the most ruthless breakdown you'd ever hear in your life. But I love you, Joe B. I mean, my grandma told me to be a nice guy. If you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say it. And I don't listen to her very much, but this will be the one time I'm going to hold my tongue. Joe Benavidez is a wonderful person, man. Great guy. He's got a great family with, going to have a great family with Olivia. I think that he's just an absolute, just a wonderful person for the MMA community, for you to raise your son to be like. But this is a ruthless sport, much like the Roman Gladiator Coliseum. You know, they're feeding these old people to the young lion, and it's happening right in front of us, and it's sick, man. We just saw Corey Sandhagen get a knee to his, or Corey Sandhagen give Frankie Edgar a knee to his face that will, he'll change his whole damn life pretty much. Askarov, man, this guy, man, his scrambling ability, his jiu-jitsu, I'm not going to say it's better than Joe Benavidez, but it's just he's young, man. He's fierce. He's in there. He's 100% wants this. My poor dude, Joe Benavidez, has gotten robbed. Not robbed, but gotten shorted a few times here. So I'm going to say Askarov wins this, but I don't like it. I'm going to be rooting for Joe Benavidez. I think that if Joe Benavidez does not win this fight, that he should retire, go do coaching and investing and his podcast, and he has a lot to offer the world besides fighting. A lot of fighters don't have that. So I'm going to ask Azkarov, but I that's only because I love you fans.
All right, let's take a breath for this one. Here we go. The Buffalo Bills of the UFC, Joey B. 7,900 on DraftKings for Joe B. Azkarov 83. And here we go. Benavidez is still an absolute motherfucker. Like, if you're going to write this guy off after 2 losses to Davidson Figueiredo, good luck with that. He is still very good. And in this matchup, he has some advantages that I like. And let's get into him. Like, yes, he's aggressive, sometimes to a fault, but oftentimes to success. Like, everyone talks about Askarov's grappling, and for good reason. Benavidez grappling is absolutely nothing to sleep on. So you want to talk about his chin being gone? Like, I don't know that I believe that, number one. I know his style typically doesn't age the best in the sport, particularly in the lower divisions, but I just don't think Askarov's the kind of guy who's going to prove that his chin is gone. Like, Joe's faster, a more diverse striking style, has the power advantage. Like, when you watch Azkarov fight, like, you watch him do his thing. He has a tendency, he backs straight up, and when he hits the cage, he shoots takedowns as soon as he runs out of room. I just don't think that style is going to work on Joe B. Like, even at 36 years old, I can't write him off after 2 losses.
Fuck yeah, Mikey. Fuck yeah, Mikey. Tell him Joe B is going to win this shit. He's going to dominate you, Asker. Fuck off.
I think it's going to be a close fight. Don't get me wrong, but I just still think Joe's got some gas left in the tank. So, like, look, you guys can get after me, like, on the show or on Twitter if you want, whatever. And, like, I might have the balls to play him on our DraftKings as the week goes on, but for right now, 8,100, it's such a close fight. I'm not going to put him in my lineup right now, but I am picking him to win. I am taking Joe B to win this fight. I just think I think when you see the way these two match up, it's Joe B's fight.
I don't want to say mean things. This isn't not to you. This is not to you, not to you. Obviously, I've been
if I didn't say mean things, Joe Bob ain't saying shit.
I know, but that's why it's like, okay, Benavidez is still an incredible fighter. He is still Mr. Well-rounded, has a little bit of pop in his hands, which is one of the biggest things that he had at these lower weight classes, and so few guys do that. When he would land, even if he didn't finish you, he's going to stagger you, and he's going to make you think about that shot and terrified of that shot. He still has the wrestling. He has slowed down, and it almost pains me to say that, like, Joe B was a small 135er. He was one of the reasons they developed the 125 division, because they're like, hey, he's pretty popular, another team alpha male guy. We could bring him down. He'll get a championship belt. Cool. Didn't quite happen that way. Had a few chances. And then had some more chances later. The weirdest part is he's even kind of small for 125. Like, if there was a 115, he could probably make it. Granted, we're getting too old that we should even attempt that. But if there was a 115 10 years ago, bam, Benavidez all day. Askarov has utterly impressed me. I mean, outside of the draw he got with Moreno, because we bet Azkarov and didn't win money there, but that's fine. I do think his straight wrestling is better. He's got some pop on his hands, and I think he's faster. I think he's like, I'm not gonna say the newer Joseph Benavidez, because he's not the newer Joseph Benavidez. It's not exactly the same style, but he does all of the things the new wave of MMA fighters do. He's the new flyweights. He's a part of that new flyweight, the Brandon Royval, the Brandon Moreno, Askarov, like all these guys that are in that wave. And Joseph Benavidez isn't just the previous wave. He's the previous wave's previous wave. And
still holding.
He's that dude, man. He is the last holdout of that first wave of 125ers. He still fought in the WEC, which you can't really say about anyone at 125 anymore that's still lingering around. So I love me some Joseph Benavidez. I don't think he's going to win here. I really don't, which is obviously rough for me to say. Big fan. I think it's going to be a clear decision for Askarov. I think Benavidez might be able to pull off the first, but then after that, it's going to go down huge because not only is he dealing with the fact that he's coming off back-to-back title fight losses, he's probably in the realization that there is just about no chance he's ever going to get back to the title. Like, unless he literally just knocks out 5 top 10 contenders in a row, he's not getting a title shot. It's not happening.
All right, let's not talk like this.
So it's like, even with a dominant win here, he's not there. Whereas Askarov is 1 or 2 wins away. So I think Askarov is on the incline. Benavidez, sadly, is on the decline. I think at this point, Askarov is either at that same level or beyond. So it's pretty much a pick 'em. Askarov at one point was the dog. Wish I would have had that. Not betting this thus far, and I might just not bet it on precedent because Joseph Benavidez. Next up, we have Bo Bice, Kyler Phillips, plus 135 versus Yadong Song or Song Yadong, depending which broadcast you listen to, which website you go to, and which odds you like. At -1, if you go ahead.
No, I did some research on this. As you know, I am intermingled with the community, you might say. It is Song Yadong. I actually asked people this weekend.
It's Song Yadong.
Song
That's
Yadong.
how I've been saying it this whole time. And then now Tapology switched it up on me. So I'm going to switch that just so I know. But he's -155. And then you go, since you got it perfect, Mikey Gills talked to me about the appropriately titled Song Yadong versus Bo Bice.
Appropriate title, Song Yadong versus the now appropriate title, Geico Caveman, Kyler Phillips. I'm not giving up on that. Kyler Phillips, 7,400 on DraftKings, just creative striker, throws a lot of kicks, knees, definitely more of a kickboxer than a standard boxer. One problem that he's going to have in this fight is for every opportunity that you create on the feet, you also create one for your opponents. And Phillips can be hit a little bit. Defense is a little suspect, and that worries me against a guy like Song Yadong. You look at Yadong, 8,800 on DraftKings, undefeated since 2016. Really good stand-up, super fast hands, elusive on the feet, hard to hit. Where I think this fight gets interesting for these guys is in the clinch game. Like Song, he can be taken down against the cage, sort of like last week we were talking about Cachero and Lawrence. Like there's a bit of that here too. Phillips is going to have an advantage in the grappling if they can get him to the mat. Song doesn't like to spend a lot of time there. Phillips is way more comfortable. In this fight, just when you look at everything that Phillips has for $7,400, I do think he's a decent dog play. High floor fighter. He's really busy. If this goes all 3 rounds, he might get you a good floor even in a loss. But he's got a lot of finishing ability, and for the lower price guys he does have a more direct path to victory than a lot of those guys do. So I mean, you could do a lot worse than Phillips on this card. It's 7,400. I recommend him as a dog play. I like him. I'm going to be playing him this week.
Yeah, this is where Mikey and I differ. Song Yadong Song, this guy's an absolute animal, man. He was standing up. He's been in there with some great wrestlers too, like Cody Stamen, and even Stamen wasn't even be able to hold him down. There's no freaking way that little baby Jesus or Geico commercial caveman Kyler Phillips is going to be able to hold down Song Yadong this whole time, man. It'd be cute, but it ain't happening. Song Yadong is tough as can be, man. He's well versed in jiu-jitsu. The dude's only 23 years old, man. He's one of China's best fighters. The UFC wants this kid to shine. He trains out of Alpha Male, so he has Uriah Faber's blessing and his skills and his mind with him. I really like Song Yadong here. I think he's had the way tougher path to get here. There's Kyler Phillips coming off of a loss, I believe. So I just there's no way that I'm not going to back my boy Song Yadong. So this is going to be my bet for the podcast. What's the odds at right now, Bob?
-155.
So I'm going to be putting down 1.55 units on Yadong Song to just absolutely murder the kid Kyler Phillips and teach him a lesson and send him back to the Geico Stone Ages.
I want to clarify one thing, because in the beginning of your thing, I think you said that I was picking Kyler. What I was saying was that for all the lower priced dogs, I said he has one of the best paths to victory. I am still picking Song.
I heard what you said. I was disgusted. I threw up. It's over. I'm just joking, dude.
And just to quick clarify, Kyler Phillips is coming off a win, but it's against someone named Cameron Else.
Yeah, no, my bad. My what I had Tapology has it pulled up weird, and so it showed me the losses on the opposite side. Either way, a win versus a guy that ain't Song Yadong. That's the damn truth.
No, I'm actually surprised at it. Actually would have been even crazy when I originally made the show notes for this. For anyone who peeling back the curtain a little bit who doesn't know, I make our initial show notes usually by Sunday with some of our videos and other stuff and send it out. And Song at that point was -135, which made no sense to me. and he's creeped up. When me and Real Mike first talked about it earlier today as a possible bet, it was at minus 150, which I'm still a little surprised about. And now it's at minus 55, which we're getting there, but I'm still surprised at these odds. Song Yadong not only has faced the better competition, he's beat said better competition. This is by no means anywhere near the level that Kyler Phillips was fighting, and I'm surprised that Song Yadong isn't minus 200. That's kind of where I had this line. So the minus 55 to me is an absolute steal. So yes, the bet, secondary bet on this fight card thus far is to win 1 unit at the minus 155 for Song Yadong. Sorry, typing stuff out. All good. Next up, we have the longtime champion, although it's rough even saying longtime champion, because I actually do like Dominic Cruz quite a bit. Not as much on commentary. I liked him more as a fighter. But when they always say it's like, oh, he was champion for 10 years and like whatever. I'm like, yeah, but the tail end of that, he was fighting like once a year. He kept getting injured. He had it spaced out. He's had 2 fights in the last like 4 years, and he's plus 110 against a man named Casey Kenny at minus 130 who's perpetually watching his own back because Megan Anderson is going to beat him up. And the sheer emotional and physical toll that type of anxiety and fear is going to cause him. I'm surprised the odds haven't flipped. But Real Mike talked to me about Dominic Cruz and Casey 3 a.m. Kenny.
Oh, man, this is a tough one for me because if you listen to the podcast, I got plenty of feelings about Dom Cruz. We're also successfully bet Cody Garbrandt when he fought Dom Cruz and beat him for the championship. So, whether it's personal feelings, disliking Dom because of my experience with my brother in the Brandon Vera's house that he lived in with him. If Dom Cruz comes out here and he's healthy, which is never really true, I just have a hard time believing that Dom Cruz little chicken legs are going to be able to take these new calf kicks. If Casey Kenny is any bit smart, man, he better be able to implement some kind of lower leg kicks to Cruz. I know that Casey Kenny's southpaw and it will be a little bit harder than normal, but he's still, man, I'm talking about some little legs and they've been damaged for a long time. So, I don't know if it's my dislike for Cruz or if it's I actually been high on Kenny too as he's been going up. I like his striking, I like his kick game, I like his transition ability and all that. But Dom Cruz can do that too, So I know that Dom Cruz's wrestling and jiu-jitsu is going to be equal to or better than Casey Kenny's, in my opinion. That's if Dom Cruz is 100% healthy. I just never really know that going into this. It's iffy. So. I always have a rule that I go over the OG versus the newcomer like this. I don't like Dom Cruz at all. I'm still going to go with my rule, OG versus newcomer. I'm going to pick Dom Cruz.
All right, so right off the bat, Dominic Cruz, I have to say it, he is my number 1 draft pick for a COVID cancellation this week. I think his record merits that. Just throwing that one out there. Dominic Cruz, 8,100. Casey Kenny, also 8,100. I was talking to Real Mike last night about this. I had like a short book written about this fight, and in the interest of saving time, I'll just try to keep it subtle for DraftKings, just to save some time. Dominic Cruz, if he shows up looking like Dominic Cruz, he should win this fight. Casey Kenny just doesn't have, I don't think, the lateral movement in this fight to keep up with a Dominic Cruz. Like you watch when Kenny was fighting Nathaniel Wood, for example, throws a ton of kicks to the legs, to the body. I don't know if from the southpaw stance, if he's going to be able to catch Dominic Cruz coming in like that, especially over the course of 3 rounds. Like you have to be an exceptionally fast fighter to come in and do that against Dominic Cruz, like a Henry Cejudo was, like Cody Garbrandt, or like a younger Faber or something like that. So just in the interest of saving time, Dominic Cruz, I'm picking him for the win. He's a low output guy. I don't see him as a finisher in this fight, so I don't recommend him for DraftKings. Kenny, if you think he's going to win the fight at 81, I think he's going to throw a ton more kicks on Dominic coming in. I could see playing him. It's not really a dog or whatever situation, but Dominic Cruz is the pick.
I'm still sick to my stomach. I picked Dominic Cruz.
Fuck. Like, I'm pausing now because like it comes up all the time, but like I talked about, me and Mike talk a little bit about picks for the show in terms of just bets, and that's real Mike, because we like to give you guys at least two. So we just make sure that like we don't have the same one, and then that way we can have information written down to make sure that stuff's going to come out, so you guys get at least two. Sometimes it's one if it's a bigger bet, but at least two. But other than that, we don't really talk about picks or bets. So if you would have told me that leading into this, all three of us were going to pick Dominic Cruz, I would. I was not going to believe you.
I'm still not believing. I'm still not believing it.
This thing is like I know for a fact how much you dislike Dominic Cruz. So the fact that you picked Dominic Cruz, I am utterly shocked.
I'm only doing this because I love my fans so much that I don't want to just let my hatred for Dominic Cruz and me jacking his girlfriend when she worked at Hooters. Oh, sorry, did I say that? I totally lost what I was talking about. But the point is that my hatred for Dominic Cruz and the fact that he's a wimp and didn't like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Oh shit, I'm sorry. The fact that I don't like Dominic Cruz and I picked him still just shows you that I stick to my guns and my rules. The OG versus the newcomer. I'm sticking to the rule. I hate it. I'm going to throw up. If he doesn't win, I'm literally going to just be blasting Mikey on the chat, telling him how I told him so in the beginning. I can't believe I picked him. It makes me fucking sick. I can't believe I took this chicken leg old fucking fart.
No, my biggest thing as I looked into this fight is obviously Dominic Cruz hasn't fought in a while. And he's barely fought over the last couple of years.
He's never fought in a while. He never fights.
We need to move on at some point. We're at the hour mark now, and we're not even to the main card.
Sorry.
It's great fights, but we need to keep trudging through. Not trudging through. They're great fights, so I apologize for that. But Dominic Cruz, he has had a solid year of training to get back to where he was. Obviously, he's not getting back to where he was. That's not my point. The fact that Casey Kinney, his path to victory, other than spouting wise about Megan Anderson, is to implement a solid wrestling game plan. His striking is coming along. He does not throw as many shots as I think he needs to. His combinations are coming along, and he's starting to get some footwork in there, but that's more when he feels completely safe that if things aren't going well, he can go to the wrestling. And I don't think as much as Dominic Cruz basically doesn't have knees anymore and has like weird things on the bottom of his feet, and like I don't he's probably mainly made of paper mache, but I think he can absolutely stop the takedowns of Casey Kinney and make him pay for throwing shots when in the back of his head he knows he can't take him down. I'm not comparing Cruz to Merab Davishvili. It's not going to be a fight like that, but I do think Cruz can bob and weave his way around enough shots and put out enough offense that the nostalgia factor can get him a decision. So plus 110, cool. If he gets up too high, I might throw something at it. And here's hoping he wins, because it's National Women's Health Month and Casey Kinney shouldn't be even on the card.
Bullshit, dude. Megan Anderson's ugly. I don't care what none of y'all say. She's gross.
Dang.
Hey, she is some people's cup of tea. I take away cup of tea. She's some people's gallon of tea.
Bob's woman is 1,000 times prettier, and she's beautiful. This girl's gross.
I'm not going to get into the name calling and saying women are gross.
Yeah, have fun getting canceled.
Listen. I love women. I love women. Okay, I
apologize. And Jackie girl, Megan. Apologize.
Mel B, I love you too. Sorry.
We're just trying to make sure the like fraction of female listenership we actually have. We want to keep and maintain and grow.
This had nothing to do with our wonderful, beautiful listeners, our women followers that I absolutely adore. This had to do with an absolute savage Viking of a woman named Megan Anderson. Is gross.
Sorry, I'm that's the way it goes. Eventually, it just gets me going.
That's me being nice. That's me being nice.
Although Megan Anderson will somehow find out, because I joked earlier, she literally searches her name on any form of media.
Oh, what do you mean? I've been blocked for 2 years. For 2 fucking years, because I've told her that she was going to get her ass.
This is going to be a live experiment.
Now I get it. Mike was trying to talk to her. She blocked it. That's where the hatred comes from. All right.
Hell no. I was actually punking her. I was actually so mentally deep in her mind that she couldn't handle it, and that she lost when she got here in the UFC. So she had to block me because she couldn't handle the fire.
Right, I still maintain the fact that only one fighter has ever blocked me. I thought I've said stuff about her before.
Shit. So hour 3 minutes, bro. I feel like we could keep going.
Really could. I'm just sorry. Again, Travis Brown, you're awful. I don't care if you blocked me. Thiago Santos plus 135 versus Alexander Rakic. I'm hearing it a bunch of different ways this week. Here's hoping we could. I need John Anik in my ear just perpetually. That'll work. Santos is plus 135, and if you add that 1 to the 5 and round up, that's how old he is. Alexander Rakic minus 155. It's fun with math. Mikey Gills, Thiago Santos, Mr. Hammer on the chest, Eunice Kuniskaya's battered calf versus Alexander Rakic.
Dude, Bob, you're on fire with the little clips tonight. I'm just throwing that one out there.
I'm tired.
Hey, Bob and I mean, we've all worked hard to get here, but dude, when I first met Bob, I was like, oh, this motherfucker's beautiful. I'm keeping him around.
All right, we're going to transition now. Thiago Santos.
Hey, I'm just warming us up for Dober talk, baby.
It's true, man.
Oh, God. It's going to be a 3-hour show. All right. Thiago Santos, 7,600. Alexander Rakic, 8,600. Just right away, I'm pretty big on Rakic in the spot. On the feet, we know what he is. Tall, long striker with power, particularly with his kicks. He can go hard to the legs like he did against Ledet, or he can go full on like Will Smith. I think I can beat Mike Tyson and just send your head into the 5th row. Actually, I did that with a hand instead of the foot. Sorry, I'm not that limber. My bad. Anyway, but it's more than that. Like, he can also fight smart if he has to. Like, you look at his last fight against Anthony Smith. He's learning from his mistakes of the past. And even if he feels like you're a problem on the feet, he will take you down and pound you from the top. Obviously, Rakic, he's not Glover Teixeira in terms of ground skills, but what we saw happen to Santos in his last fight, he really offered nothing once Glover took him down. And I've seen Rakic control legit black belts on the ground before. So, Santos coming off double knee surgery before his last fight, now 2 losses in a row. 37 years old, going against a 29-year-old true light heavyweight with a serious set of skills. I just got to go Rakic. So for DraftKings, 8,600, perfect price tag, averages around 100 points in a win. I'm definitely going to take that.
Sorry, I'm laughing. We got Lance Official, Mr. MMA Analysis Royalty, up in here in the chat. He said he's here for new Dober picks. I don't got full. I got more PG-13 version of them. But
if you guys don't follow Lance Official on Twitter, you guys are fucking up. I'm telling you. Listen, I promise you, if there's one motherfucker who hits PGA like nobody's business and is better than half of the paid MMA touts out there, Lance Official on Twitter, go follow him. I promise you, that motherfucker's fire. He's funny as hell. Good dude. So go follow him. Nice to see you here, Lance.
Take account from me, who literally knows nothing about golf.
I love golf. I love golf. Me and Lance. Oh, you know what? While we're on the golf subject, Tiger.
Let's stick on the
I love you. I'm so sorry. I will come to your hospital bed. You're so close to me. I will feed you with spoon fed, fork, whatever you need. I'll barbecue for you day and night. Just call me. I'm close. Okay, now back to Alexander Rakic, my boy. I told my boy Bob this morning that I say, bro, I'm a ratchet for Rakic, however you want to say it. I absolutely love the guy. Yeah, it's a tongue twister. I fucked up bad. I drank 2 beers. I'm a lightweight. I don't know what you want me to say. Sorry, guys. I'm just a realist. I'm not like Tupac, but I'm not. Either way, the fact Alexander Rakic, if I could be like a specimen like that, I would be. He's just body is amazing. His height.
Please.
Oh, we'll give it to him too. Sorry, I love Rakic just as much, bro. I love Dober. I don't know. I'm fucked up, man. I could get into this too deep. Right. Let's get to fights. Rakic is absolutely amazing. His stand up, his jiu-jitsu, his wrestling. I think that's where he's going to edge this fight. I think that Santos, he's a mean motherfucker. Yes, he's going to come for 1 round of fire like me. Tell my woman that the heat's coming that night, and I've been thinking about it all day, and all of a sudden that time comes and I'm not that same dude. It didn't happen. I've been thinking about it all day. That's Thiago Santos. He's a 1-minute man, 1 round dude. If he doesn't finish this fight in the first round, he's gonna be absolutely fucked. I feel like Alexander Rakic can put him down and on the ground and absolutely just either win a decision or TKO KO him when he's tired. I know a lot of people like Thiago Santos. I like them too. He did a great job versus, some of our OG GOATs. But the fact of the matter is that he's a little undersized here. The fact, Alexander, like I said, he's just sexy, man. I'm going Alexander. I can't talk too much.
Hey, got nothing against that. In terms of the fight, though, we're going to have to say that a lot, especially in the upcoming fight.
Yeah.
Preemptive apologizing. Preemptive.
Hey, we're LGBTQ
that's
friendly.
Thiago Santos, with Mike Gill says, I'm right there with that. It's like he looked good against John Jones, and ever since then, granted, there's only a second fight since then, he is getting way too much consideration for how well he did or did not do. Obviously, Jones isn't falling off. He's just not finishing guys the way he has. The light heavyweight has caught up to a degree. Now you got Santos, 37, getting closer to 40 in his secondary weight class after beating his body up for years, going to 185. He got lucky going into light heavyweight, getting some people he could knock out. There was one person he couldn't knock out. David Brandt destroyed him in the first round at 185. Sorry, I always got to stitch it back to the original champ, my dude, David Brandt, the executive, if you will. But his knees are gone. And there's nothing wrong with getting taken down by Glover Teixeira. It's like, you were going to get beaten by Glover Teixeira. I apologize. It's like, you could rock him all you want. He's going to take you down. He's going to find a way to finish you. There's very few people that could take him out unless your name is not Anthony Rumble Johnson or John Jones. Fight-stopping power, or just literally better everywhere and rip his shoulder out of the socket. So if Santos wasn't going to get that finish early, it wasn't going to happen. Santos has one round. He can get that finish in the first round. If he doesn't get that, Alexander Rakic is going to go, and he's going to pull those weak knees out from under him. If he has any amount of danger on the feet, that's just what Rakic's going to do. He's going to go after him. They're going to fight. And the moment it starts to get a little bit hinky, he's going to take him down, because Santos has the lack of knees. He needs to borrow Yana Kunitskaya's knees just to get through the week. And those can't support his frame, man. She's a 135-pound woman. That frame cannot handle this 205-pound man, even with the hammer on his chest. That weighs him down. That's Iron Man. That's
bro. What are we talking about here? Sex? I missed something.
It's about knees, man. He has no knees. He's borrowing knees.
Oh, sorry.
It's all good. So it's okay. I'm going to pick Rakic. I'm going to butcher that perpetually while he's in the UFC. And honestly, I don't really care too much. He's going to beat the hammer. I more than likely think it's going to be a decision. So I'll tell you what, I will quick do the decision props, because that is actually one that I might play if I can get halfway decent plus money on it, because I do like him, but the minus 155, I'm not the hugest fan of, but I do think it's going to go to decision because Santos has enough of a chin. Fight goes decision itself is plus 160, and Rakic by decision is plus 246. So your minus 155 can get you a lot better. But it is my personal. I'm not going to push out enough to say the entire show is personal, but my personal main event of the evening next up is Islam Makhachev minus 35 versus Drew Dober. Real Mike, I want you to talk about Khabib extra light versus like playgirl pinup model Drew Dober.
You know, there's only a few times in my life I've questioned my sexuality, all right? And Drew Dober is one of those dudes, all right? Like, I don't know what it is. He just looks at me. He's not even looking at me.
It was like the first time I heard the Beatles play.
It's literally like the Beatles are playing when I look into his eyes. I look at a picture. He's not even looking at me. I look in his eyes. The dude is an absolute beautiful man, dude. I mean, I never thought I'd be so homo for him. I absolutely think he's amazing. If he came by my fiance, he would jack her from me in a second. I'd be so insecure. It would be funny. And I'm super secure. I'm supposed to be talking about fighting and I don't even care. I'm going to talk about Drew Dober. Drew Dober, we love you here on the MMA for Money show. Like, literally, ladies, if you do one thing tonight, because I'm an idiot and I know that, right? That's why we wanted to be called the Nerd and the Nut originally, because I'm the nut. That was the nerd. And this is my new boy over here, or this way, my Mikey Gills. But the point is the point is that go check out Drew Dober on Google, ladies, and have a good night. You thank me later. It'll be better than the fights on Saturday. All right. And then the other guy, what are we talking about him for? I mean, yeah, he likes to wrestle guys. I'd rather wrestle Dober. I mean, come on now. Let's get serious though. Islam Makhachev, the dude's a monster. His wrestling is crazy. I've heard that it's some of the best wrestling, straight wrestling in MMA, better than Khabib, says Daniel Cormier. When someone says that, it really makes me worried. But I don't buy in all that hype. I'm going my boy Drew Dober. I think that Drew Dober is, on a sick KO win streak. I think Drew Dober's been working for a long time. I think that his stature, his everything was made for this moment. And I think that Islam, not that he's bad, he's amazing, but Drew Dober is way better. So I'm going Drew Dober, baby.
Yeah, I'll just make this one short and quick. My worry for this fight is that I live in Baltimore. Mike lives in Los Angeles. Bob's in Chicago. So if something happens to Dober in the first round, I don't think either of us can get to Bob fast enough before he does something crazy.
I was a medic. I was a medic too, so I need the golden rule, 7 minutes. I need 7 minutes to get to Bob.
It's a 13-hour drive from me. You're twice as far away. So Bob's gone. We got to take your shoelaces off now. Get rid of them. Just
M&M show.
Makhachev's an animal. His grappling's ridiculous. Power on the feet. He's had a long layout, but if you look at his record, he doesn't fight too often. He only averages like a little bit more than a fight a year anyway. I don't see how Dober wins this fight short of a clip. Short. Makhachev for 9,400 on DraftKings. Don't exactly recommend him though. He's not like always the highest point scorer. I think there's other guys you can go with around that area that are going to do better above and below. But yeah, it's going to be a bloodbath.
I'm going to give a legit breakdown of this fight.
Thank you.
There will be other things mixed in, but I am actually going to
wait. Did Mikey just shit on my man?
I said he's going to lose terribly.
Oh, holy shit. Hey, sorry guys. Say goodbye to Mikey. Mikey is his last show. I really liked him. He's a great dude. He's wearing black because he's the man in black.
I have the best chance. Like I could mesh the two. Trust me. So Islam Makhachev, they've always said in the AK camp that he is not just Khabib Jr., Khabib Light. He is absolutely the next shining sun at 155. He is the dude. Even this week, to build up hype, you got the coach saying that he is the only one that has ever taken a round off Khabib. I personally don't believe that, because I think that plenty of guys lose rounds in training if you're doing things you're not good at. But either way, Islam Makhachev is borderline cursed. I've been told, like, even DC himself has said that when the guy they see in the training room shows up, he's unstoppable. Well, there's plenty of fighters that can show up in the training room, but on the night, not so much. He's been taken out by the first round by Adriano Martins, who's not even in the UFC anymore. Granted, that guy was a great one-round fighter. Absolutely. Makhachev's striking has started to come along. Obviously, he wants to do wrestling. Submission-wise, not so much, but he wants to have controlled wrestling. That is absolutely true. But he is so spaced out with his fighting. He's not fighting frequently enough. And I think at this point we're at a year since the last time he fought. I think I had it up before. Or is it, no, it's a year and a half. I'm mixing up so many fights. There's so many dates. Either way. So one thing I very much appreciate about Drew Dober, strictly fight-wise, we'll get to the other stuff later, trust me, is dude started doing Muay Thai in his early teens. He wrestled at his high school. He started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in his teens, and he's finally been able to bring it all together. And yes, he has some losses, but he has built from there. Since being at Elevation Fight Team, he has looked phenomenal. He has his striking together. Really what has happened is you'll notice he gets taken down, because that happens. Even with the wrestling base, he gets taken down. He gets taken down because his get-up game is so fantastic that he's not too worried about getting taken down, so he can throw his kicks, he can throw his strikes. He throws leg kicks. Islam really does. He has a little bit of a body kick. His striking isn't as good. He doesn't throw with the volume and the combinations as Dober. Granted, yes, he should be the favorite. I'm not denying he should be the favorite. He should probably even win, but I think this plus 275 on Dober is absolutely ridiculous. I would say he should be the dog in this fight. Absolutely. But plus 275 for me is getting absolutely crazy. And he opened it up over plus 300. I think plus 330 is what I saw. I would have bet that for sure. And there's still a good chance I'm going to bet it at the plus 275. And for sure, if it breaks plus 300, I am going to for sure, because in that first round and first two rounds, Drew Dober can absolutely put it on Islam, who doesn't like taking the shots. He freezes when he gets hit. I don't know if it's a flashback from when he got knocked out or what, but skill for skill with wrestling in terms of grappling control, Islam is a beast. So yes, it's a shot. That being said, I do like Drew Dober here. I'm going to pick Drew Dober, and if it stays at this amount or it at any point breaks plus 300 is an auto bet. Absolutely have to. And it just has to happen. I'm really trying my best to go technique-wise, Because if it's just sheer looks, it's like it's the ultimate meme of you versus the guy she tells you not to worry about. Is you got Islam Makhachev versus Drew Dober. It's like it's not even fair. Like there are times where like I'm just scrolling and I am focused way too much on his Instagram on the daily. So he almost needs to not be fighting. So there's not as many posts because that starts to get odd. Drew Dober has the chin of a superhero, the body of a superhero, and Islam Makhachev looks like the guy in the back of the class that his finger goes up his nose and then it goes somewhere else. And then all of a sudden you see him chewing something and everyone's confused. I don't think he is the heir apparent for the 155-pound title. And I do think there is a solid chance here that Drew Dober can put him down and look damn good doing it. So you know what? I'm going to take a shot on him. I am waiting because I do think Islam Makhachev is going to get bet up with parlays. I really do think I'm going to get him at plus 300, but at very least, I know I'll get him at plus 275. I don't think he's going to get any lower than this. So pick is Drew Dober. Yes, we spent like 15 minutes talking about a fight that's not even like a real title fight, but it's the title fight in my heart, in your heart, and in all of our eyes, especially every one of your significant others. Although, again, similar to what Real Micah said, do not let your significant other watch this because then she is going to be like going down the Dober IG train, of which is like saved on my phone.
Or let your girl watch this and she'll just be going down.
That's fair. That's fair. We're going to get into the first of 3 title fights now. I would stick with the other stuff. But if anyone doesn't follow me on Twitter, it's MMA State of Mind. You will get plenty of Dober content all week. That is a promise. That is a guarantee. If I don't get to your level of Drew Dober content, let me know. I'll turn up the volume. I can. Absolutely. But we're going to get into the first of these 3 pay-per-view cards. Yes, we're already at an hour 20. This is just going to be that show, apparently. But these fights, in my opinion, are much more straightforward. And I know I have a heavy lean in every single one of them. So at least on my end, it should go pretty quick. Peter Yan, minus 115 versus Aljamain Sterling, minus 105. Mikey Gills, talk to me about Aljo versus the first of the 2 Yans.
All right, so Jan 8,400, Aljo 7,800 on DraftKings. To put a point on it, this is the most important fight on the whole slate. Like Nunez is going to win her fight. Izzy's almost certainly going to win his. You're going to want as many 5-round fights in your slate as possible. I'd recommend having 2. 1 is absolutely necessary. 3 if you can get them, but I understand that's tough. This fight's the most reasonably priced, but that's because it's the most competitive and like it's crucial to get this one right. And that's why I'm picking Peter Yan. And I'm going to let a wave of hate come in because I understand everyone's on Aljo right now. I get it. That's fine. But Yan striking, he's so good. Like, how can you say it's like the first time you face like Mike Tyson in Punch Out. Like you need great timing to beat Hippo and Tiger King, but you need to be a goddamn surgeon to beat Yan. Like he's so good at making you fight his fight. He walks you down, forces you into like disadvantageous positions, just leaves you with only bad options. He really is like, on the underappreciated list of champions, he might be at the top. Like, yeah, but what if Aljo shoots on him? Like for starters, Jan is like a near 90% takedown defense. Beyond that, I bet my life that Aljo is going to be in a position to shoot that is either A, impossible, B, a bad idea, C, directly in the path of a knee or some other kind of counter shot. Just Jan's really good at making people fight his fight. I can go on, but it's taken a long time already. So, like, this fight has high scoring potential. Yan, an amazing talent, only $8,400. In a victory, he's a virtual lock for north of 100 points. So I'm going to be playing Yan in my lineups. Aljo, I understand, very live dog. I'm not an oracle. I could be wrong. I'm going to be playing Aljo in dog-heavy lineups where I want to put Amanda in. But, yeah, Yan's my pick.
Yeah, this is going to be a great fight, man. Peter Yan, super well-rounded. I mean, great striking, great wrestling, great jiu-jitsu, obviously why the champion. But Aljo, man, I think that Aljo is just a little dark horse here. I think that he's big. I think he's going to be a little bit bigger than Peter Yan. I feel like Aljo's path to this point has just been much rougher than Peter Yan has. I mean, if you look at Peter Yan's record, I mean, who has he really beat? I think Uriah Faber. It's like, cool, dude. I mean, he's old. That wasn't the California kid. I'm from California. I know that. So I really believe that Aljo Sterling's going to win this fight. I mean, he's going to shock the world. I think he's meaner, but they're not. They're disrespecting him. So I'm going Aljo Sterling by rear naked choke.
Sorry, I was laughing in the chat. We got Brad Trashuk in there saying Peter Pan's striking is so bad he was getting outstruck consistently by a walking fire hydrant, Jimmy Rivera. I the comparison of Jim Rivera to a walking fire
good.
hydrant. It's so apt. It's ridiculous. Like I said, I have fairly strong lean in all of these fights. I am huge on Aljo here in a major way. I know Peter Yan has become quite a bit popular because he has beat some of the aged veterans. I don't think many of those hold up to snuff as things go on. I think Aljamain's range and his kicking game and all his all-around striking is going to be problems. It's something that Peter Yan has not seen before with that range. It's just an odd striking style, but it works for him. He uses his kicks like jabs, but then when he goes in there, he can throw in combination. Obviously, he's not throwing with tremendous power, but it's all about getting close to you. And I do think he's gonna, as he terms himself the human backpack, he is going to get on there at some point and put Peter Yan in some trouble, breathing heavy at some point. If he can get there in the first round and a half before they build up the sweat going, I think it's going to be a quick cinch and submission in that time frame. If it doesn't get there, I think it's going to go long, but I do think it's going to be a clear Aljamain Sterling victory. If it goes to decision, a clear decision, he absolutely mauled him on the ground and had him down and on top, and was just doing unspeakable things to that man if he doesn't get him out early. So sorry, I'm huge on Aljamain Sterling here, and this is actually going to be an independent bet for me. I'm going to keep my eye on it just because I kind of like it at plus money, but really if it stays anywhere around where it's at, the -105, I think I'm going to go there. So first of 3 title fights down. Boom. Next up, Amanda Nunez. The WMMA GOAT is, last time I had checked for the update, although it's probably changed again, is a -1,165 versus Megan Anderson, who's plus 750. Real Mike, like I said, the WMMA GOAT versus 3 a.m.
Amanda Nunez is absolutely amazing. Megan Anderson isn't. I haven't liked her at all. I'm not gonna like her. I'm never gonna like her. She's bad. She's big and sloppy and oafy and just gross. She's like Gumby fighting. I don't know, So Amanda Nunez is gonna be able to take her down and absolutely wreck her in jiu-jitsu wise. If she stands, it could be weird, because of the reach advantage of Anderson. But I just don't think that Amanda Nunez is that dumb. Holly Holm took down Megan. Amanda Nunez is going to take her down. She's going to be able to submit her or pound her, ground and pound her, or get it done. If she's smart, she'll take that game plan. If she doesn't, we'll see something different. But I believe she's that smart. Her team's that smart. Mike Brown's the man. So I'm going Amanda Nunez via submission.
Oh, sorry, I lost my place there. We're on the Nunez fight. Sorry, Nunez 9,600, Anderson 6,600. Look, everyone's going to break down this fight, talk about technical this, 5 a.m. girl that. Look, Amanda Nunez is going to win this fight. That's the bottom line. Really, for me, it's just, is she worth $9,600? It depends. It depends on how you're going to set up your slate on this one. If you're going to have her at 9,600, you basically have to sacrifice all of your other 8,900 the rest of the way up their place. So if you feel comfortable with your underdogs, go for it. I can tell you for the card that I set up for our show tonight, I am going to be playing Amanda Nunez on it for 96. Just there's no point in even break it down. I think Amanda Nunez is going to wipe the floor with this girl, so we can just move right on to Bob.
That's all good. Sorry, since I made the joke earlier on when we did the intro, I just keep singing Matchbox 20 3 a.m. over and over again, and I just cannot get it out of my head. So if we can get that anywhere in the postscript, or I'll just play it before I go to bed later. Amanda Nunez, unless she quite literally decided, I'm good, I don't need to train, I'm not going to do much, cool, then she's going to win. I agree. I think she's going to be smart. I think obviously she has a baby now. Has a happy life, but I don't think that that's going to get in the way of her beating Megan Anderson. If she was fighting top tier 135 maybe, but I'm sorry, she's going to go across, she's going to take Megan Anderson down, and she's either going to submit her or TKO her, because it's just what's going to happen. I don't care how tall and long and all that great stuff Megan Anderson is. It's she's going to get humbled real quick. And if it lasts more than a round or two, it's just because Amanda Nunez wasn't in the best shape. I didn't want to say that she could get up off the couch and beat Megan Anderson, but she can get up off the couch and beat Megan Anderson. So moving on to a fantastic fight, an amazing fight, a main event fight. Granted, yes, this should be Jan Blachowicz versus Glover Teixeira. I'm sorry. because Glover Teixeira would have the belt. There's no way around it. Like, if you want to have like aged 205er versus Israel Adesanya, it deserved to be Glover Teixeira. Like, I will not hear any of it. There's literally one time that I picked against Glover Teixeira. Well, I guess 2 times because against John Jones. And he's made me so much money. And he would have beat Jan Blachowicz. And then, I mean, granted, I would have to see him against Israel Adesanya. But, okay, sorry. Away. We got Janie from the block, Jan Blachowicz, plus 190 versus Israel Adesanya. Mr. Puma, if you've seen his new ad, minus 230. Mikey Gills, talk to me about Yanni from the block versus Izzy.
Yeah, so right away, picks Adesanya. Just going to go ahead and straight to the DraftKings part of it. Just, man, Adesanya can piss you off. Like, we're 1 fight removed from a 5-round, 49-point decision against Yoel. You look at his fights against Silva, Vittori, he didn't score more than 56 points. Like, Izzy just does these things where, like, he either shows too much respect or just doesn't try at all, or maybe it's a bad style matchup. He doesn't want to do more than he has to. But, like, it's funny that he gets comparisons to Anderson Silva because, like, I wasn't playing DraftKings back then, but, like, you can only imagine how angry Anderson would make you. Like, when one fight he looks like Neo in the Matrix, the next fight he's basically a human statue. Like, it's maddening. And, for $9,100, don't like maddening. I'm definitely going to end up playing him in certain lineups. Like, of course you have to, but, like, if I'm offering, like, my most confident one, Izzy's just not at my table for that one. Like, I feel like he's already looking past Jan. Like, he's already given interviews about potential fight dates with John Jones for the light heavyweight and the heavyweight matchup. And literally neither of those guys have fought in either of those divisions yet. Like, I don't know. Just the pick's Izzy. He could very easily turn out to be a great DraftKings player, but for 9,100, if I have to pick between him and Amanda Nunez, it's going to be Amanda Nunez. So it's just, he has that weird habit of not showing up. But yeah, definitely the pick to win.
Yeah, I can't wait for this fight. I'm a huge Izzy fan. If you listen to the podcast for as long as we've been on, I've been just all over Izzy, talking about he's the best striker there is in the UFC, period. And nothing's going to change that here. I know that Jan's going to be a little bit bigger. He's going to, have a little bit of strength edge, but he's not going to have the speed edge. He's not going to have the agility. Israel Adesanya's striking is absolutely phenomenal. It is world class. It is something to behold. I know a lot of people hate him for certain reasons, but Izzy is the man. He's going to win this weekend. His striking will be on point, and hopefully it'll be a double champ.
For anyone who's listened to this show for a long length of time, I have made a lot of money on Jan Blachowicz. He has been my guy at 205. I mean, I probably made more money on Glover. I've actually made a lot of money at 205 in general now that I think about it. My biggest Ryan Bader, Rumble, Glover Teixeira, and Jan Blachowicz have been money trains for me, like, pretty much in perpetuity. Followed them when they won, pretty much can call when they lose. I usually don't hop off the train too early, but I did with Jan Blachowicz by 1 fight. I picked him against Dominic Reyes, but I didn't bet him. And I had thought about it, like he had a chance, but I was just like, you know what? The guy did good enough against John Jones, but that's similar to the issue with the Thiago Santos breakdowns from earlier. It's people are giving too much credit to guys that fight John close when John's fighting on the safer side. Clear, but safe. And I want to pick Jan Blachowicz here, but I'm sorry, I'm off the train. He had a very opportune title challenge at that point when he beat Dominic Reyes. I think a lot of light heavyweights would have beat that Dominic Reyes fairly easily. I mean, Glover would have done it. Rumble was still there. He would have done it. Heck, Rakic might have done it. Like, I mean, it was just Dominic Reyes was in a bad place. Israel Adesanya, it's going to be really weird when I don't know if he's trolling or what, but he says he's going to weigh like low 190s for this fight, which is basically just him not cutting weight, which is kind of hilarious for me. We got Mr. Royalty, Mr. Million Views, Randy W. Horton hopping in for the comments, man. Thank you for hopping in, and congratulations in person for that amazing 1 million views you've gotten on here thus far with Haps not even being around for super long. That's awesome, man. Coming in for the main event. I appreciate that. Izzy is probably just going to pick apart Jan Blachowicz from the outside. That's all he has to do, and he can do that if he wants to, and then he can catch Blachowicz tripping, coming in. He can get him tripping, coming straight in, and countering when he wants to. So he very well might get a finish. It's exceedingly possible, but I think it has a chance to go long unless Blachowicz decides to bum rush. If he pulls the Costa and I'm going to run directly into your hands, this is phenomenal. I can't wait. that's just kind of how I see it. I think he's going to pick him apart at range for like he's willing to have a boring fight to win. He absolutely is, especially you sneak a stinker in there every once in a while. You were good. I think if this was his real assignment, even a couple of years ago, Blachowicz would have been able to take him down. But at this point, he's a good wrestler, but with it not being his base, I don't think he has a chance to do it. I think he's going to get clipped a lot and kicked a lot to the body and to the leg and knee and put in the clinch. And it's just, end of the day, it's not going to be good for Blachowicz, although I do think more than likely it's just going to be a clear decision for Izzy unless Blachowicz decides to run forward, which I would advise against in general, although I guess it might be his only chance, but I don't think he has the power to do it. I quite like Izzy's chin. Well, that was the fight card, but we need to do a quick review here. I'm going to quick review our bets, just so you know. If you missed the whole time, you could write them down now. And then Mikey Gills is going to give his full Draftkings breakdown after that fact. I will make sure to kick it to him so he knows when to go. And then we will start bidding adieu to all nearly 700 of you fine people that joined us here tonight. We really, really appreciate it. But as a review for the bets we have for the show itself, obviously there's going to be more. So keep an eye on our Twitter. We usually pop out more, especially me. I have, for some reason, have way too many bets that are going to be on this fight card. So MMA State of Mind for me and Don't Cope Just Win for Real Mike if you want additional bets. But for the show itself, we have 1 unit on Tim Elliott at plus 110. And we have to win 1 unit, so minus 155, 1.55 units at minus 155 on Song Yadong. Finally got that spelled right and in the correct order, thanks to our resident expert, Mikey Gills. And with that, With that, Mikey Gills, can you give me your DraftKings breakdown?
Yeah, I was surrounded by a community this weekend. I had plenty of insight on that one, but here we go. With DraftKings, like what I want to emphasize is that on a card with 3 title fights, we're essentially looking at 3 main events. Like you always want to have one of the main event fighters. If for no other reason, then you're getting 2 more rounds of free points in each fight. The optimal lineup is going to be decided by who nails the 3 title fights. And it's kind of really that simple. Like you don't have to play all 3 in your lineup, but with the possibility of those 5 rounds, you better have at least 2 of them and you better hope you have the right 2. So I'm going to start off with Amanda Nunez at 9,600. Like, there's no such thing as a lock, but there is such a thing as Amanda Nunez versus Megan Anderson. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, Amanda Nunez is going to win this fight. It's either going to end quick or it's going to go all 5. Amanda Nunez is going to justify her price tag. Next up, Peter Yan, 8,400. And like, this is the toughest matchup of all the championship fights on the card. Like, look, I know all the arguments for Aljo. He's the sexy pick right now. Jan's just in a groove, and
Drew Dober's the sexy pick. Sorry.
That is true. I'm sorry. I apologize. On Drew Dober night, I should have known better. It's Rex Manning day. But like we don't talk about these things beforehand. I was wondering where you guys fell on this. Like, I didn't know we were talking about a possible bet on Aljo, and now we're gonna hate each other on Saturday, and that makes me sad. But he's my pick. Next up, Alexander Rakic, just big, tall, rangy striker with power, just good IQ inside the cage, knows what to do, what it takes to win. 8,600, perfect price for the production. I'm expecting anything from 70 to 100 points. Like, I think Santos, like, I'm not sure if he's washed, but he is going to be at a disadvantage in this fight. And I'm just big on Rakic. And I think this fight's going to set him up for a bigger contender matchup, something big for him. Next up, Kyler Phillips, not a true underdog pick, but I'm still picking Song to win this fight. But, Kyler Phillips, he's tricky as shit. Much younger guy. He's got an arsenal in there. He's good everywhere. And if this is a 3-round war, which I think it could be, like at the very least, we're looking at a solid floor play for this guy. Like, Phillips going to throw from everywhere, solid on the ground. I think he can take this fight. Not sure that he will, but again, the bottom line points. Next up, Tim Elliott, 8,200. I think this fight is tailor-made for Tim Elliott. Like, based on everything I heard from him, coaches, teammates, just really seems like Elliott held out for this fight for a reason. At 8,200, I love this guy's chances for a win, particularly a finish. Nothing crazy for this one. Let's roll. Last up, Alon Cruz, just 7,300, true upset pick. Opponent looks really good against fighters who are absolutely terrible. You guys know I've been doubting these Alaska guys for a reason. We pretty much all do. It's because they're just not tested to the level that other fighters are. Cruz is a big, tall guy for that weight class, significant reach advantage, got gas for day, explodes out of nowhere. Like I was talking about the Undertaker earlier, does the exact same thing, just like he's got heart, tough. Watching his tape, I described him earlier as like a Diaz brother with kicks, just pace and pressure. I'm in for him for the win. Let's fucking go. I also have written down emergency Yan pick. Not going to roll with that one. Don't worry. But that's my lineup. Cruz, Elliott, Phillips, Rakic, Yan, Nunez. Let's go.
40. Sorry, just getting my stuff there. And I want to quick give a shout out. I forgot to do it at the top of the show. I need to find out their exact Half's address here because we had someone trying to reach out to us for us to hop in. But at least his tag on Twitter is it's TJ Time 1991. He did a show last night on Haps. Don't know what his exact name is in here. So if you're here within the chat, by all means, shoot that out. That was you sending a DM to us, to our show Twitter account. Sorry, we couldn't hop on with you, but big shout out to you and hope things go great for you and Haps. We'll give you plenty of shout outs on here, provided we know the exact name of it on there. So mention us. We will mention you. We're trying to grow this community and the just about 700 people watching here live. Hello to the other guy hopping in from Anaheim. Just trying to give thank you to everyone hopping in here in the chat. The chat's a good time, especially tonight, and has been plenty of times in the past. So by all means, jump on the show. It's awesome. In terms of, I was trying to think if we have any other final things for you guys to say before we do our official wrap-ups on this thing. Real Mike, about the fight card, or just, you know what, life in general. You got your strain that just came out today or about to come out today? Come up with a name?
Yeah, well, no, not a name yet, but yeah, I'm crossing FSDOG versus in a papaya cake, and I'm only the third person ever to cross the papaya cake with anything. So that will be those seeds will be coming soon, and then I'll be able to grow it and meet my my strain. But just want to thank each and every one of you guys for everything you do, for following us, subscribing, liking, and giving us the love you do, because we ain't nothing without you guys. So let's go.
Now, Mike Gills, anything going on other than just being like sullen and downtrodden given your attire?
No, like I said, I'm lighting the sage, and we're just gonna cleanse the bad spirits of last week and pray to the great spirit. And we're gonna get back on a roll this week. I'm excited. Let's go.
So on Twitter earlier, like I have way more bets than I normally do on a fight card because there's just so many spots that I like, which is usually doesn't happen. So it's one of a couple things. Either this is going to be amazing, or next week you're going to hear me complain about a lot of calf kicking, judges, bottles of wine, broken talismans, a bunch of stuff in there. So we'll see next week. You'll get to enjoy that. But speaking of next week, we will be back next week for UFC Vegas 21, Edwards versus Muhammad. That is a main event. I just have to say it. I love this is the most hilarious thing in the world because it's who versus remember the name. It's just I don't think you could have come up with a better. Every once in a while you think that the matchmakers are just truly trying to make me personally laugh, which I very much appreciate it. Going to give a quick shout out to a few people that have been consistently coming here on Haps. Obviously there's a bunch of people on Haps here. We've got to give one to the big Randy W. Horton himself, because that man, 1 million views. That's insane. That is awesome. To the other guy that just subscribed to us, very much appreciate that. And you gotta always give it up to Vince, aka Beans. There, check out his Haps channel. It's great stuff. He's also on Twitter. I believe it is the same handle there. But you could follow us and subscribe on your platform of choice: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast Podcasts, RSS feed, and here on Haps. Absolutely. Remember to subscribe to us on YouTube for the full-length shows and the tidbits, the shorter versions of stuff that will come out, spread out through the remainder of the week. Like, comment, share, spread the word. And with that, let's roll.